This time I'm looking at a line from the great Joe Pass. This comes from his take on the standard Blue Bossa with Milt Jackson and Ray Brown on the album The Big Three. So let me play it a couple of times, then we'll pull it apart. Just a reminder, if you'd like to see a transcription of this or any of my other lines, you'll find a link in the description down below. So as I mentioned, this line is taken from the tune Blue Bossa, and it's basically a couple of 2-5-1s. The first 4 bars are a minor 2-5-1, C minor. So that would be a bar of D minor 7 flat 5, bar of G7, 2 bars of C minor 7. Then it moves to a 2-5-1 in D flat major. So we'd have E flat minor 7 for a bar, A flat 7 for a bar, and D flat major 7 for 2 bars. And over the first chord, over the D minor 7 flat 5, he starts off with this idea. And incidentally, this idea, it starts on the second eighth note, and so on one and. So it would be this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that's the figure he's playing. And for this, he's starting off basically playing an F minor 7 arpeggio. Although it's over the D minor 7 flat 5 chord. And it's worth pointing out that the chord preceding the D minor 7 flat 5 is actually an F minor 7 chord. So it could be that he's still effectively playing over that chord, because also if you think of D minor 7 flat 5, say that was the 7 chord in E flat major, the 2 chord would be F minor 7. So again, if you move up a minor third, you can play an F minor 7 chord over a D minor 7 flat 5. So that'd be another explanation for why he's doing that. But either way, he's going up an arpeggio, straight from the root, the F minor 7 that is, the root of the F minor 7. So be the root, flat third, the A flat, fifth, the C, and E flat, the flat 7th. And he slides from F sharp up to the G, then to the B flat and back to the G. And these notes, and we can see them in different ways. We could see them as a continuation of this F minor arpeggio, basically extending it up to the 9th, which would be the G, and the 11th, which would be the B flat. So essentially you're just carrying on up in thirds. You could also see it as implying a couple of chords. You could maybe see it as implying a C minor 7. Or even a G minor 7. Few options there, but I'm going to suggest it's more kind of just continuing the idea, the F minor 7 arpeggio idea. Then it moves to the G7 chord, and he plays this. Really nice idea. So, as for what he's thinking on this, so it's over G7. And he starts out with A flat, then E, then G, then F. So you could say it's suggesting a G13 flat 9. Because he's picking out the flat 9 and the root and flat 7th, the 13th. Again, you could also see that as being diminished scale. Or another way you could look at it is implied kind of dominant 7-5-1 resolution. So it could be that he's implying F minor, then C7 with this E and the G, that'd be the 3rd and the 5th, and then back to F minor. And This idea we've seen again and again in the lines that we've looked at so far, just like a little kind of implied 5-1 in there. And he follows this by coming down the notes D sharp or E flat, B, A flat, then G flat or F sharp, and then ending up on the G. The G, incidentally, is the fifth of the C minor 7 chord, so he's resolving to that. And these notes you could see as just being a flat minor 7 arpeggio. 5, it's the flat third, it's the root, it's the flat 7, which would give you in interval terms, it would give you a sharp 5 on the G, major third, flat 9, then, I mean, this would be the major 7th, but really it's a chromatic approach note to the G. In fact, these two notes, you can see this is kind of bebop idea called encirclement, where you play the notes a half step above and a half step below the note that you're heading towards before going to that note, which is the G. I'd say it's kind of an altered idea, really. He's outlining the sharp 5, the third, and the flat 9 before playing the chromatic approach note to the G to resolve to the G on the C minor. So then we get to the C minor chord, and over this, as I say, starts on the 5th on the G, then jumps up to the 2nd, or the 9th, the D, then moves down a half step, and then to the B, and then back up to the C. This is another really common bebop idea called enclosure, where you start a whole step above the note you're aiming for, which would be the C. So you start on the D, then move down chromatically, and then play the chromatic note below. So you're sort of surrounding the note that you're heading for. And there was another great example of this in the Bill Evans line that we looked at a little while back. I say it's a really common idea in bebop. And he follows this by going up the C minor scale, or C Dorian. And then the second bar of C minor 7. Comes back down to the D, then the C, then the B, then back to the D. Again, this is another kind of implied 5-1. The B and the D suggesting kind of a G7, the third and the fifth, before resolving back to the C. Could also see it as being C melodic minor. It goes down to the G, then down to the F and the D, the last two notes in the bar. And these again, you could say that's suggesting G7. You could also, because we're moving to the D flat 2-5-1, so moving to an E flat minor 7 chord. So you could suggest that he's hinting towards a B flat 7 chord. That'll be the 5 chord of the E flat minor 7 chord. So to set up this move to E flat minor 7. So let's play those first 4 bars. Let's put all that together. That itself is a really nice 2-5-1 line, really nice minor 2-5-1 line in C minor. So then, as we're moving to the E flat minor 7 chord, he plays this. So initially, over the E flat minor 7 chord, he's just going straight up an E flat minor 7 arpeggio, starting from the root. And in fact, it's exactly the same as what he did over the D minor 7 flat 5 chord, but down a whole step. Remember, he outlined F minor 7. He's outlining E flat minor 7. And from there, Goes from the B flat chromatically up to the C, and then to the E flat. So that would be the third and the fifth on the A flat 7th chord. So he's anticipating the move to A flat 7 by a beat. And so as the chord changes to A flat 7, he plays this. So he starts out with the flat 7, the G flat, then up to this A note, which is the flat 9, then to the root, then back to the flat 7. That's suggesting A flat diminished, half step, whole step, or maybe altered scale. Then he comes straight down these notes. F, E flat, D flat, C. And these notes, I mean, you could see them as being just A flat Mixolydian. Or I would suggest he's actually anticipating the change to D flat major 7 by a couple of beats. Very much sounds like an anticipated kind of move there. He's sort of resolving early, 2 beats early, to D flat major 7, just coming straight down the scale. And then for the next bar, the first bar where it actually changes to D flat major 7, plays this idea. What's going on here? He's basically playing a B flat minor 7 arpeggio. Which is the relative minor of D flat major. So he's kind of suggesting a D flat 6 chord. And actually, it's worth mentioning, this is also just exactly the same arpeggio that he was playing of the D minor 7 flat 5 and the E flat minor 7. Minor 7 arpeggio just going straight up from the root up to the flat 7th. But this time, around each of the notes, he's actually going down a half step and back up again. Which gives you a real nice displaced kind of idea, because it's 3 notes. Then he finishes off the last couple of beats with this idea. So he's going from the C up to the E flat, then back down to the C, and he's going chromatically. And incidentally, these notes, again, this is kind of echoing the initial idea he had in the first bar, because he's carrying this arpeggio on, this B flat minor 7 arpeggio on, up to the 9th and up to the 11th. Again, very much like what he was doing here. Well, as I say, this time he's doing a little chromatic idea, then moving up chromatically from the 9th up to the 11th. And I say the 9th, this is in relation to the B flat minor 7 arpeggio, although obviously it's over a D flat chord, so you'd actually be going, this would be the major 7th, the C, and the 9th on the D flat major 7th, and ending up on the major 7th. So again, another really nice 2-5-1 line, D flat major 2-5-1 line from Joe Pass. So let's try putting all of this together slowly. 3 and 4 and 1. Lovely line, classic Joe Pass. So let's try playing this at half speed along with the backing track, and then we'll play it a couple of times up to tempo to finish.
you.